For centuries upon centuries, the human race has been releasing lethal gases into the Earth's atmosphere. This graph is proof. These are the levels of carbon dioxide in our atmosphere for over hundreds of thousands of years. But the spike at the end? That took off during the Industrial Revolution. We have started breaking CO2 records since 1950, and we haven't stopped since. Why? Well, that's what we're here for. Let's talk climate change. Let's start with some basic science. This is a graph that I showed you at the start of the video. As you can see, the graph has been pretty stable up until the Industrial Revolution. Why? Well, scientists say that there's about a 95% chance that human activity is the cause of climate change. We have been burning more fossil fuels such as oil, peat, gas, and coal, which emit carbon dioxide that powers our homes, buses, factories, and airplanes. These have tripled over the past 70 years. We are also consuming much more animal products, which release another pollutant called methane. These gases are the cause of greenhouse effect and the acceleration of them too. The greenhouse effect is when the sun's warmth is trapped in the Earth's atmosphere. It is caused when the gases such as methane and carbon dioxide absorb infrared heat from the sun. The Earth could be easily ranging from 100 degrees Celsius in the afternoon to a minus 100 degrees Celsius in the night without greenhouse effect. When the gases get trapped, the Earth gets warmer. But the problem here isn't the Earth getting warmer, but it is the rate of which it is. The UN states that the Earth is now 1 degree warmer than pre-industrial times. This is about the year 1800, which is okay. In fact, the UN says that even if we warm up by 1.5 degrees by the end of the century, we would be okay. Even 2 degrees would probably be alright. But again, the problem is the speed, because right now we are going to reach 1.5 degrees by the end of the decade. If it doesn't slow down, it could be catastrophic for the generation and for future generations. We're already getting a taste of the effects. Climate change already has so many observable changes in our environment. Glaciers have melted. Ice sheets are breaking. Plants and animals have to shift their habitats in order to survive. We are witnessing many more intense heat waves. Even the intensity, frequency, and the duration of the North Atlantic hurricanes have all increased since the early 1980s. Sea levels are rising over 3 millimeters a year because water expands as temperatures get warmer. The breaking and the melting of glaciers and ice sheets are contributing to the increased heights of the seas and oceans. People all around the world are already losing their homes, and if things don't carry on, we would have to do the same. There would be millions of us that have to pack up too. Coastal cities such as Miami in USA and Osaka in Japan might also completely disappear. Even entire islands in the Pacific might disappear. If most doctors told you to take a medicine because you will die without it, then you will. But the problem is that we don't have the medicine. But we do have a way to limit it. But we aren't even doing that. Now, there is a plan to slowing down the process.
A record number of countries signed the historic Paris Accord to slow global warming. China and the United States, the world's top producers of greenhouse gas emissions, pledged to formally adopt the deal by the end of the year. US Secretary of State John Kerry brought his granddaughter along, symbolically stressing the pact's importance for future generations.
In 2016, 197 countries signed the so-called Paris Agreement. The European Commission states that the Paris Agreement is a global framework to avoid dangerous climate change by limiting global warming well below 2 degrees Celsius and pursuing efforts to limit it to 1.5 degrees Celsius. also claims to strengthen countries' ability to deal with impacts of the climate change and to support them in the effort. In order to reach the goal, each country set out their own goals on how much carbon they would emit. But that didn't really help because, according to sources, 3 years after the Paris Agreement, the global carbon dioxide emissions are still rising. It went more than 2%, which is well above the average of the past decade. If it keeps rising at this stage, then things won't look good for the next 10 years. In some ways, we're going backwards.
In order to fulfill my solemn duty to protect America and its citizens, the United States will withdraw from the Paris Climate Accord.
The United States has already pulled out of the Paris Agreement. Russia and China are accused of not giving themselves ambitious targets in the first place. Countries such as Turkey, Poland actually want to build more power plants conducting coal. And then, of course, there are the skeptics.
It's a political decision that there is man-made global warming.
Forced the computer models to say, human influence, CO2 and other stuff.
The ground-based temperature data has been massaged to show an increase, but the satellite data shows no increase.
There are people denying the fact that climate change even exists. There are experts saying that the data are being tailored to show that the levels are rising when there is actually no increasement. On the other hand, though, there are many countries making progress. Countries such as India, Morocco, and the Gambia have been making environmentally friendly renewable projects. Some countries are taking it in a different way. Some countries are making all public transport free in some cities to encourage people out of their cars. Scientists are saying that we need even bigger of a push to change everything the way we run the world, including starting with our daily lives. We can all make a change by shifting to renewable sources, reducing the consumption of cars, eating less meat, being aware of your consumption in the first place. But there's a limit of bike riding and light bulb changing we can do, right? But the truth is, what we are doing in our daily lives is helping to change the world. According to sources, even coffee could run out if farmers can't grow it. So finally, what's the expert advice, you may ask? It's all down to us. We have to change the way we pursue the world. We have to change our consumption, our usage in order to survive that extra 100 or in thousands of years. Because if we don't, climate change will catch us.